Hey guys, Roadside RC Troy here. So, I'm here today to test something. Rear-wheel drive drift cars. A lot of the posts and everything that we see online is that everybody's moving their weight back to the rear of the vehicle in order to get more traction, right? So they're moving their speed control back here, they're moving, you're even starting to see some of the new guys with the new Yokomo kits moving their motor to the rear. Like this whole thing and all this controversy of should you do it, should you not do it, all because like it makes you faster in theory, but it also, maybe it makes it less realistic, all that kind of stuff. The truth is, I am super happy with how this drift car has been doing so far. I enjoy driving it. I enjoy everything about how it drives. And when I'm at my local track, I really have fun driving it, except when other guys show up that are faster, and then I'm like the slow guy on track. So as long as I'm out there by myself, super happy, could care less, everything is great, and then other guys show up. So I want to do a test. How much faster does the car get when you move weight from in front of the rear wheels to behind the rear wheels? And I think the only way that I can really super easy do this is I'm actually thinking about taking the battery and just literally tying it or strapping it back here as a test. Now traction, if anybody out there is a drag racer knows, traction directly relates to straight line acceleration. So what I'm going to do is set the car up here in the garage, run from one spot to a designated spot on the other side, time it, and see with the battery in the standard location versus the battery behind, how much faster does it really get, if at all. Alright, so here's how we're going to do this. Rear tire right on the edge of the rubber going to this blue line, and we're going to time it. I'm going to do absolutely nothing but just nail the throttle and see what happens. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, that's run number 1. And we're going to do this 3 times just in case there's any kind of variation. 3, 2, 1, go! Last speed run in the stock location. 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, now for just a simple test like this, we're not going to get fancy. We're literally just going to pull the battery out, put it back here, and using a very simple Velcro strap. Do not try this at home, kids. We're going to just hold it on because we're not going to be doing any drifting. It's not like we're out bashing or anything. Literally just going to go straight. Alright, so that's a pretty heavy battery. This is, what is it, a 4600 hard case. So that should be a significant amount of weight difference, right? In fact, even just look at how little... I think that's significantly more height on the front end than what I normally run. So yes, we've put a lot of weight back there. Alright, first test with the rear battery. 3, 2, 1, go. Well, it definitely seems like it's faster. Second test. 3, 2, 1, go. I think I even let off of it actually before it hit the finish line. 3, 2, 1, go. So it can drift. Before we go moving the speed control back to the rear, I want to do one more test, which is let's take, instead of running the big heavy battery, much lighter, fraction of the weight size battery. Theory here is this one gives you slightly better traction, but this one, it weighs less, so it accelerates better. Which one really does it? I don't know. Let's go ahead and test it. First run, small battery. 3, 2, 1, go! Second run. 3, 2, 1, go! Turns out the ESC that I have, if you really look at it, it's actually pretty good sized. It's an older hobby wing. So I've taken this piece of paper and I've measured out how big the ESC is, and I think I can mount this right here, and that will be plenty of room for that speed control to sit. So now I'm going to take this template and I'm going to copy it over to metal. Alright, check it out. Look at that. Random piece of metal that I happen to have laying around in the garage. Cut to shape, bent to shape, and it will bolt up right there and hold the ESC. Free, literally $0. Gonna bolt it on with some leftover screws and nuts that we have from a previous project. What about that? Look at that. Nuts are in there. Now obviously if this works, probably should paint it, probably should clean it up, round the edges off and make it look nice, but for a test, I think that'll work. Look at that. ESC is officially mounted in the rear on my makeshift steel plate. Had to really get the wires all over here. Yes, the ESC for some reason has a cap pack, small cap pack on it. So that's there. Routed this, because of course the body that I normally run, that hot rod body, doesn't leave a lot of room back here. Like a lot of the guys that run a rear SC, they have big bodies and lots of space for their wires. Mine does not leave nearly as much space. Had to clock my motor over even in order to get this to sit down appropriately. Moved the receiver also. Receiver used to be up here. However, the lead for the ESC wasn't quite long enough, so I went ahead and moved it up here. Alright, so that's what that looks like. Time to give it a test. Alright, same test we've been doing. 3, 2, 1, go! Second test. 3, 2, 1, go! Last but not least, 3, 2, 1, go! Alright guys, final thoughts. So it works as it turns out. So the more weight you put back on the rear tires, it looks like the more speed you get, the more acceleration and speed you get out of these drift cars. So it makes sense. I did find a little bit of a trade-off. It seems like with low speed drifting, lack of weight on the front tires really seemed like it. Slow corners, you really had to give it throttle in order to get it around it. There's just not as much traction on the front tires. Makes sense. So we'll play with it. We can probably change some of that just via setup and stuff. So hey, I hope this was helpful. We did all this just to kind of prove out the theory. If you're out there and you're doing RC drift and you want to play with this, then see what it works for you. Bye.